tonight's episode, we talk the final update for the pretrial for the Larry Millete case. If you haven't been following it, let's see how this ends. Will he go to trial, or will the judge dismiss the case? Find out right now on Love and Murder. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Love and Murder, the weekly true crime podcast discussing relationships gone terribly wrong, where our motto is, you're either someone's last love or their first murder. My name is Kai, and our show discusses true crime cases told in the form of a story with mystery and suspense. Be sure to rate us on whatever platform you're on. Unless you're new, then listen to the episode first and then go ahead and rate us 5 stars, please, on whatever platform you're on. Also, if you're new, welcome. Well, if you're old as well, thank you so much for being a dedicated listener. We are so grateful. Tonight, we're talking the final update of the Larry Millete pretrial case. We're trying to see if the judge is going to dismiss the case or is he going to move forward to a trial. So if you haven't been following this and you don't know the answer yet, listen to this episode and we're here to let you know. But first, let me tell you a little bit about our Patreon, www.patreon.com/loveandmurder. In our upcoming bonus episode, we're talking about a case of someone who had everything going for them. They were famous, they had money, just everything going for them. And for some reason, just out of nowhere, they blew it. So come on over, tune into Love and Murder on Patreon and join us over there. You can join at just $1 a month, or you can get the more popular and beneficial tier starting at $5 a month. You get all our back episodes of full-length Love and Murder, as well as all our back bonus episodes. So you don't want to miss it. Come on over, www.patreon.com/loveandmurder. We look forward to seeing you there. And now, on to the show. So before we begin, I do want to give a shout out to all the listeners who left comments on our YouTube about our last update. B Botanical said that the blood was tested and it came back and it wasn't Maya's blood. And if I remember correctly, in episode 50, and I don't know why I didn't remember this in the update, didn't they say it was actually pig's blood or something like that, if I remember correctly? So it wasn't even human's blood. So this is why they didn't move forward with that spot of blood. So I apologize for that. And then she also said, at the hearing, the police stated, quote, Larry said he placed fruit cups and tangerines in the 2 coolers, end quote. Even though Maya's brother stated that Larry said he had been feeding his son only French fries all day. And I remember that as well. He did state that he was feeding his kids a certain food, and then he was like, yeah, but I packed something else. She also said the date rape jug can be purchased over the counter across the border, which I know. The only thing I was saying is, why are you purchasing the date rape jug? That's everybody's question. And she also stated threatening messages to spellcasters and date changes are suspicious. And I agree. I wasn't saying it's not suspicious. Everything about this is suspicious, as everything that's going on is suspicious. And then Melanani said it was her tone of voice that made her feel awkward. In terms of the woman in the lawyer's office who said that she, something about Maya made her want to call and check up on her and it just didn't feel right to her. That's what she was referring to. Melanani was referring to. So that was something I wasn't aware of. So thank you for that. And that's just a couple of the posts that I did want to shout out. So thank you for that. Now, if you remember David Garber, the Chula Vista police forensic specialist who had said in the last update, I told you he said he had taken pictures of everything. He was the one who actually took a picture of that red blood spot. So he said that he had also taken a picture of a page found in a notebook in Maya's master bedroom. And what it was actually a handwritten note from Maya to Larry that was written on August 27th, 2020. And they're figuring that Larry really never got it because it was in this, it looked like a journal maybe of Maya's. And it didn't look like it was actually delivered because it was just between the pages in the journal. So I actually have what the letter said. So I'll tell you. Quote, "Dear Larry, you are right. I am not myself anymore. I've turned into this bitter, angry person who is careless with her words. But that's what our marriage has turned me into, and I hate it. I hate that you get me so angry all the time and you speak so righteous while I speak so bitterly. You want to keep trying too, but each time I'm outside the house and not within your view, we are fighting. It's unhealthy. It's toxic. We need to change. But with the kids in mind, I want to be happy, and happy is not with you. We cannot be doing the same thing expecting the same results. I've been gone mentally and emotionally for a very long time, which you failed to notice until I found the strength to initiate physically leaving. I read this and I thought maybe you'd consider it. Quote, the ego says, once everything falls into place, I'll find peace. The spirit says, find peace and everything will fall into place. End quote. Let me find my peace. I cannot find it with you. Maya. And that was the letter that she'd written but never delivered. So they did show that to the jury. They showed it in court. And I wonder how Larry was feeling when he saw that, since he had never seen that before. He had never heard it before. But I'm going to say allegedly, this was something he already knew because he knew she didn't want to be in the relationship, allegedly. So then her father, Maya's father, took the stand, and his name is, okay, let me try. Pablito Tabalanza. And when he took the stand, the stuff he had to say. He told the court and the jury how Larry just randomly one day showed him his gun and said, also random, by the way, quote, Papa, I will kill her or him. I will kill her or him, end quote. It's like, he was like, who, like, seriously, this is what her father was like. Who are you talking about? Who is her? I hope it's not Maya. And who is him? Even though he said that Larry had just one day just come out of the blue and was telling the family that Maya's cheating on him with somebody at work. But literally, whether it was a family, whether it was the police investigation, there was no evidence of this particular person that Larry was talking about. And I say particular because just strap in. It's gonna, wow. So another random, he just came out of nowhere and said this, was after Maya went missing. So soon after she went missing, Larry went over to Pablito and said that, basically, quote, don't worry, Papa, there's nothing going on. I will never do that because I love Maya. And then Pablito was like, that? What's that? And Larry never explained. Like, that was all he said. Don't worry, Papa. There's nothing going on. I will never do that because I love Maya. He never explained his statement. And it's just like you're sitting down, you're eating a sandwich, and somebody just walks into the kitchen and was just like, don't worry. There's nothing going on. I'll never do that because I love Maya. And you're just like, huh? They just like, just look at you and walk out the room. And you're just like, what the hell is going on here? So he never explained what doing that meant. And then another weird thing is that he, Pablito, Maya's father, was actually supposed to babysit his youngest grandchild. And that was on January 4th when he talked to Maya about doing it. And then days after they had it set up and everything, and he was supposed to come and babysit, Larry called him. And he was like, no, we don't need your help anymore. It's okay. And Larry said that his aunt and uncle was going to watch the youngest child. And so when Maya asked her dad, like, hey, why did you just not come? Like, what happened? He told her what Larry had said. And Maya had, like, no idea about this. She had no idea. So she got angry, like, how dare you change plans without even telling me? And how dare you tell my father that he can't watch our son? And so that interaction there, that was the last time her father spoke to her. That's the last time he heard from her. And then it also came out that, well, we already knew this part, that Larry was in control of the finances. So whatever came in, he would hoard it and not give Maya anything. Again, control and personality. He wanted to control her. So what she had started doing was she started stashing cash, because she figured that when she divorced him, the divorce would turn ugly, which she actually told her family, if I divorce him, it's going to turn ugly. And that was around the time she also told her family that if something happens to me, it's Larry. So she was stashing cash and everything like that. And this came out in court. One of her friends said, quote, "She said she was tired of seeing scars on the wall. I asked her what she meant, scars on the wall. And she said Larry would sometimes get angry and punch the walls and then cover it up so you wouldn't see it later." So all of this is what's, the controlling behavior, basically stalking, because he was literally stalking his wife. She couldn't go anywhere without him just showing up, or somebody he knew showing up to report to him, or him putting trackers somewhere around her. Like, he was literally stalking his wife. Controlling the finances, the violence, the angry outbursts, all of this was why she was going through with a divorce. And speaking of tracking her, one of Maya's friends said that Larry told her that he had tracked Maya, and this was sometime in June, and he had found her sitting in a van, in a white truck, in a white truck with some guy named Jamie. And so, of course, he went up to the truck like, "What are you doing? What are you doing here with him? Who is this guy? This and this and this." And he asked the guy, he said, "What are you doing here in this vehicle with my wife?" And Maya just started crying. I don't really think she started crying because of guilt. I think she was just embarrassed and just frustrated and just, oh my God, leave me alone. This guy that he just pulled up to, you don't know what she was doing. This could have been a work friend. They were just sitting there having lunch or whatever. You don't know. And so, she was just crying, and that very night, Maya ended up moving out of her apartment and back into their house, which, by the way, I guess I'm jumping the gun. She had moved out. She had left the house and moved into her own apartment and was trying to do a separation with Larry. And this incident ended the separation. Larry went and got her and told her, "This is over. The separation is over. You're coming home." And so she moved out of her apartment and right back into the house. And another thing that came out in court was that Larry just was extensively texting Maya's family and Maya's friends. He was just texting them, asking them to convince her to stay with him. I think Maya's leaving me. I want to fix my marriage. I don't know how to do it. And he was just obsessively texting everybody in her life. So that's another thing that came out in court. It's like, this guy is like, just, oh my God, it's just, he has a screw loose. Are you serious? So from what I've said so far, what his father said, what friends have said, the incessant text messages, the letter, everything like this is like mountain evidence of what's going on, and just explaining to you what's been going on in Maya and Larry's house, in their life, everything like that. So that was all coming out in court. And then if you went and listened to episode 50, you heard that, again, surveillance footage from the neighbors came out. You heard the gunshots. If you went to our Patreon, we have the footage of the gunshots. We have the footage of the children playing and everything like that. You heard the gunshots. You heard the gunshots at a specific time. Then, as I said before, you see him leaving. But she came home at 3 on January 7th. You saw him leaving. You saw him returning. You heard the kids playing. You heard that pop, pop, pop sound. you've never seen Maya leave. You never catch her on any surveillance footage leaving. Even though, remember, he said she went hiking. But all these things, she went hiking. Her purse is still in the house. Her car is still there. Her keys were still there. Her cell phone was still there. Her children were still there. And then to top off all of that, there's no proof. There's no video. Even though this camera, you could see everybody else leaving and coming and going or whatever. You never see Maya leaving since she came home at 3 p.m. on January 7th. So, if that's not like, take that and the fact that he put something in his car and then left, drove some distance. He turned off everything so you can't figure it out, but he turned on his GPS far from the house in a route that he never goes. I think he couldn't find his way home, so he accidentally turned on his GPS. Or not really accidentally, he had to. He was forced to turn on his GPS. So he turned on his GPS sometime, away from his home, and he was still like, what was it, 3 hours away or something like that? I can't remember. But if you listen to episode 50, it's in there. So he turned on his GPS. He wasn't anywhere near home. It wasn't anywhere on his way to anywhere, even though he said he was just driving around with his son and everything. He had taken his son to a beach. Just that right there, that's damning evidence. That is damning evidence. You never see her leave the house. You said she left the house, but you never see her leave the house. We saw you leave the house after that, but all her stuff is still here, and we've never seen you leave her leave the house. Oh man. Then there was a shocking revelation in court. This was on the 8th day, which was a Monday. One of the police officers, Detective Jesse Vincent, said that he uncovered a, quote, secret Instagram account that Maya used to communicate with someone that she was actually having an affair with. So that Instagram account showed that this guy, and he was identified as a guy named Jamie, exchanged sexual, caring, romantic, loving messages between him and Maya between September 2020 and January 2021. And I guess what set Larry off was he became aware of the affair, and he actually contacted Jamie's wife to tell her about the affair. And through text messages, it showed that Maya and Jamie argued about this and argued about just how everything was playing out, and that they couldn't take it. They didn't want a drama, but they decided to still talk. But instead of talking in a romantic relationship, they decided they just wanted to be friends. And either party decided that they just wanted to move on from this. They didn't want this affair anymore. They didn't want this to ruin their family. And they just decided to move on from this. Also, about this affair, there's a recorded discussion with Maya and Larry. So if you go to our Patreon, I'm actually putting that recorded discussion, that video, in our Patreon for our lovely lambs to be able to listen to this and understand more about what's been going on in their relationship and what the jury saw in court. So Patreon, www.patreon.com/love and murder, and you can get to hear this too. And remember those gunshots I just told you about? And if you listen to episode 50, you can hear more about that. Well, in court, they said, quote, "There was audio provided by a neighbor of loud bangs, which we collected and forwarded and analyzed by the FBI. However, they were not definitively identified as gunshots." End quote. I mean, really, it could have been anything. Could have been fireworks. If you listen to the video, it sounds like gunshots. My opinion, I'm not an expert. The experts in the FBI couldn't definitively say it was gunshots, but to me, it just sounded like gunshots. But I'm just a true crime podcaster. So also, remember that I said that he said he took his son to the beach, which you can hear more about that in episode 50. Investigators said that Larry told them he went to Salona Beach. But then later on, he admitted that he went to Torrey Pines Beach. And he told them, well, Salona Beach, I call it Torrey Pines Beach, tomato, oranges, potato, peanut butter. You know how we do. What? That's like you telling somebody, I'm going to Target. Then you come back with something from Walmart. And you're like, oh, I just call Walmart Target sometimes. What? So in the prosecution's final argument, they said that you should send Larry to trial. They did say that the evidence against him was mostly circumstantial, which it is, and said, quote, a murder trial can proceed solely based on circumstantial evidence, end quote. And then they read from The People versus Manson in 1997. They read from that trial that said, quote, the fact that a murderer may successfully dispose of the body of a victim does not entitle him to avoid prosecution. This is one form of success for which society has no reward. Production of the body is not a condition precedent to the prosecution for murder, end quote. And then they said, based on the fact that they haven't found Maya's body, even though everything else is purely circumstantial, if someone died of natural causes, then they wouldn't dispose of their own body. So that was their closing argument. Larry's defense team's closing argument said that without Maya's body and without evidence of a crime at the home, in the car, anywhere, there's little to prove that Larry committed murder. And then they also said that the mystery surrounding Maya's disappearance could just mean that she's still alive. We just don't know. They argued that Maya's alleged affair could have been what prompted her to disappear. Maybe she ran away with this guy, or maybe she felt what it felt like to be free of Larry, and she just wanted to run away with someone. So for all we know, that's what she did. This is what her defense is saying. And they pointed out that when Larry found out about the affair, instead of being angry and everything like everybody's portraying him to be, he, quote, took her back. And they also said that there was absolutely no evidence that Larry would harm his wife. Ultimately, the decision comes down to the judge. And the judge agreed with the prosecution that it was unlikely that Maya left her home willingly, without contacting her family, without taking her children, without taking her car, without taking her keys, her purse, her money, her phone, and said that was enough probable cause for Larry to go to trial. So, after 10 days of a pretrial, of testimony and everything, the judge said that Larry Millete is to stand trial for the murder of his wife, Maya Millete. Woo! That was a journey, y'all. I was really wondering how this was going to end. Remember in my last update, I wasn't sure because I was just saying everything was circumstantial. It's suspicious, but that doesn't mean, and I was wondering how the judge would proceed. But now we have our answer. He is going to trial. Let me know if I missed anything. I think I covered everything, but I could have missed I could have missed something. So let me know in the comments below if I missed anything. Also, let me know your thoughts. Guys, when the trial starts, Love and Murder will be here to report on it. Not that I'm glorifying this at all. I just want to see do we ever find her, I really hope, against hope, that hopefully it's something that she just did walk away. I mean, seriously, that's better than she was murdered. But if she was murdered, I do hope justice is served. And like I said, I'm not going to follow this case to glorify it. I'm going to follow this case just to see an end to it. And I really hope that she is found okay. And I know some of y'all are probably shaking your head saying I'm stupid, but I just, she has children. She has a family. So who wants the alternative, So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did I miss anything? Or just generally tell me what you thought about this pretrial. What do you think about the judge's decision? I just want to hear from you. Now, after listening to this episode, please go ahead and rate us 5 stars wherever you are. If you're on Apple Podcasts, if you're on Spotify, please go ahead and rate us. Give our podcast some love. And don't forget to visit us on Patreon to become an exclusive lamb member. Our lovely lambs. We love our lovely lambs. When you join and become a lovely lamb, you get commercial-free, full-length, early release episodes of Love and Murder, as well as some extras of whatever case we're covering. Like I just told you what I'm going to be putting in there today and what I put in there on the original case. You also get bonus content like cases about love obsession, cases of the craziest crime, or serial killer corner. You also get host stories, getting to know your host, behind the scenes, and so much more. One of the things that I'm putting in there is I love cooking. I shared making my own chocolate pudding. I haven't made it again yet because just time. But everyone was asking me to post some recipes and post a recipe for the chocolate pudding and everything. So actually, what I'm going to do this week is I'm going to post. I made some kebabs with some yellow rice and some green beans. And I'm actually posting that in our Patreon, as well as another bonus our lovely lambs are getting is an episode of someone who had everything going for them and just in an unexplained moment, seriously, unexplained moment, just shot it down. So you can get in starting at only $1 a month. However, the best tier is the $5 or above. Come on over, www.patreon.com/loveandmurder. We would love to see you join our community of lovely lambs. You have such a lovely community in there. Come on over. Follow us on social media at facebook.com/relationshipcrime, Instagram at Love Murder Podcast. Join our Facebook fan group by searching Love and Murder fan page in Google or Facebook, or just look below. You can get the link right there. Find our merch by going to our website, www.murderandlove.com, and clicking on our shop in the menu above. And an easy and free way to help us out is by simply sharing this episode. Share it with your mom, share it with your brother, share it with your sister. Share, share, share. And as always, we end each episode by reminding you that it's all love and no murder, y'all. See you next week. Bye.